Hey everyone, welcome to this video. Today I just wanted to cover the topic of how to set up the Fuji X-T4 for filming video or YouTube videos. I've had a few questions on the channel as to my settings, etc. I've been thinking how to do this video in the best way because really it depends on who the target audience is. So this first one I'm intending is sort of to show a beginner of what I would do with my camera. So I've titled it 12 Steps to Getting Good Video for YouTube. And yeah, let's run through the steps. So yeah, this is what I would do sort of if I were to hand this camera off to, let's say, you know, my family member or someone that doesn't know about the camera. So this is how I'd set it up, just to quickly get them going in video and to get a nice picture. So before we get started, I'll just do a step 0, and that's just in case anyone's played around with the settings out of the box, is just to reset the camera. So I'll show you how to do that, obviously turning the camera on. And then if you go to menu and down to the wrench, so left first here to get to that outside menu, down to the wrench, whoops, I've overstepped, and down to user and across, and then down to the second page there is a button there called reset. And if you go to movie, menu reset, and press OK, it just resets the whole movie menu in case you've changed settings, so that you're back to what my camera's at. Okay, so let's now start with step number 1. So step number 1 is to get this movie dial into movies. So I think from memory the camera came in with the movie, with this dial set into stills. So just rotating that knob and that puts it into movie mode. So that's our first big step, otherwise the camera doesn't know what to do. It's sort of a little bit different to other cameras where you've got, on a lot of cameras you've got a dedicated like recording button, but this one is controlled via here. So you either put in stills or movie, and then that button operates either the shutter or starts rolling the footage. So step number 2 is to set the focus here for continuous. When we're shooting a movie, we want the focus to continuously be engaged, otherwise it'll never be in focus. So just moving that little knob there, hopefully this is in focus, just to see for continuous. Step number 3 is to set the shutter. So the way the camera comes, it's usually all on auto, set to auto. So let's start with the shutter. To move these, you need to press this button. If they're locked in, this button locks basically these in. So there is a little bit of theory here. So when you're shooting a video, there is sort of a rule which says that your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. And what they mean by that is you set your frame rate inside the camera, which we'll do in a minute, which for me is 25 frames a second because I'm in a PAL country. If you're in the States or other, I think it's called NTSC format, whatever, not PAL, then you're probably 24 frames a second, which I'll show you how to set, and then your shutter speed would be 1/48th of a second. For me it's 1/50th, so double the 25 to get to 1/50th, or if you're in the 24 frames a second, that would be 1/48th. So to set that, we just disengage that button, then turn this to 60, and then if you have a look at the screen, it will show you here that it's at 60, and if I then use this button to turn, I'll be able to get to 50 and then 48. So for me it'll be 50. Sorry, I'm not showing you very well there, but for me it'll be 50, and then for anyone else that's using the 24 frames a second, you want to set it to 48. So that's one important thing to get done. All right, moving on to the next step. The next step is the aperture. So the aperture, usually the Fuji lenses have an aperture ring, but sometimes they don't, so you'll need to do it through the menu, I think. I don't have any of those, so I'm not sure how you do it without it. Actually, I think you'd just do it with these buttons, so I'm pretty sure you would just do it with either that one or that one by spinning it, and you would see the F number there. But so yeah, with the lens, I just set it to this way so that I get to set my aperture. It's not on automatic. And then I use this ring, which on here doesn't show you. Some cameras do, but for mine, when I spin this, you can see that the F number here is changing. And I always set mine to the lowest I can. So for this lens, it's 2.8, so that would be going up and that's going down. So at 2.8, it gives, I just really like shallow depth of field, so like that blurry background. So I pretty much always keep my lens wide open when I can. I know sometimes that's not the crispiest, sharpest image, but I don't really care about that. I prefer the like aesthetic look, like vintagey, you know, feel. I don't know. I'm not into the perfection of sharpness, so I set that to wide open. So that's the aperture part. Next thing is the ISO. So for the ISO, I normally control everything manually, but I think for a beginner it'll be good to stay in auto, because then the camera will do the exposure for you, and I think it'll make it easier. So I would just leave that in auto if I was to give this to someone. So I would set my aperture to the lowest I can. The shutter is always, I always follow the 180-degree rule, but that's that 24 to 48 and the 25 to 1/50th, and I would leave that on auto. Okay, moving on to the next thing, so touch screen. So I did miss one step actually. I'll just do that one before we go to that one. So the last step was just in terms of the lens image stabilization. So I normally put that on so that the lens is stabilized if it can be. Some lenses won't have that, so you might not have that option, but that's just another one that I would flick on just to have that stability when you're walking around with the camera. Okay, moving on to touchscreen. So now we're going to move into the menus inside here. So before I press menu, I like to change this setting here. So this is set for, if I press the screen, it will focus and start recording, and I find that annoying. I want it to just to focus, so if I press that, you can see that's changing to just focusing, and that's changing to area. So I can now just tap on the screen and this will move if I want it to move. Okay, next thing, shooting without the SD card in there. So I don't know why Fuji cameras come with this, probably because of a demo model or whatever. But basically I like to change this on all my cameras, and that's to say to the camera, do not allow the shutter button to go off if there's no card in the camera. So to do that, menu, down to the shooting screen, I think it is, where are we? Down to the wrench, sorry, down to the wrench, and then down to buttons and down to, I think it's on the second page. Yep, so down to shoot without card is on, and we do not want that on. I'd never have this on, so just press there and set it to off. So that way, it's happened before, so this is why I do it. Yeah, you just don't want to be thinking that footage is recording when it's not recording. All right, number 9 is the frame rate. So let's go back a step here and just come out of the menu. So menu again, if we're going from the beginning, then menu mode. So I would press OK here. This is a tricky one. I have been setting mine to film in 1080, although that's set for 4K, so it's really up to you what you want there. If you want 1080, you just need to come down 2 steps, which is the way I set it up. Then you'd go across. This is the frame rate that I've been talking about. So here I would choose 25 because I'm in a PAL country, but for some you would choose 24. And if I choose 25, if I go along, there's also some megabytes per second, and I would choose the highest one there, which is 200. So that's the menu setup, the movie mode setup. Next is the face detection. So if we go out this way, so out to the MF menu, and then down to the first page, and if you just see down here, it says face an eye detection off. I really like to set this on, and that way you get face tracking. So if you go up and across, and then I set it to eye auto and back, and now it's saying that it's set up. Number 11, IS boost. So coming out of that back into movie, and then I think it's page 2. Yep, so I normally set this IS boost to on as well. Just gives a little bit more, it tells you there what it does, but I just prefer it. It looks smoother, although I know some people have a bit of an issue with it. For me, it's been working well, so I set that on. And the last part is, don't ever forget this, audio, because if you stuff up the audio, it's like a big important part of your video, and I've done that before just recently. Sometimes it's just really easy to overlook. So audio, let's go down these. So always left to go back out. And down to the mic, and then you've got internal mic and external mic. So internal mic, I'm assuming a beginner probably won't have an external mic, so if you just click on there, I don't like to leave this on manual, I like to put on auto, and that way the camera is taking care of the audio for me as a beginner. If you've got an external mic, you can go into here and set some parameters, but I would just, yeah, for a beginner, I'll just stick to auto, and the rest I leave as is. And yeah, so basically the camera's ready to go now. If I've missed anything, which sometimes happens in these videos, I will put it down in the description. I might even write these points down and then add anything there in. I'll mark it that it's an addition. Sometimes when I make these videos, you know, a day or two later, I'm like, oh, I should have put that in, or you know, something comes up. So always check my video description. I always add any extras down there. And hopefully that was helpful, and now you're ready to shoot. Yeah, to shoot, you're just pressing that button on and off. So let me just demonstrate. When I press it on, you get that little blinking dot there, and when I press it again, it stops and it stores it. And then to play back, just going to that playback there, and it'll take you to the first clip. And then if we press down, it'll play back. I won't play it now because it's going to sound like me talking because I'm recording this. But and to delete any clips, you just compress that trash can there, and you can delete by frame or by selected frame if you have multiple frames. So if I say frame, it just asks you for OK or cancel. If you press OK, it'll delete that. Cancel will go back to the beginning. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. If you want any more of these kind of videos or in-depth stuff, let me know. I'm still learning, so I don't know everything. But yeah, it's always a learning journey, and every day you learn something and it's fun. And yeah, so that's it from me. I will see you in the next video. If you've enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up. That always helps to get my channel out there to other people, and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and I will go now. Bye.